Hello guys, before moving to MVC architecture, we will look at blueprints. Why do we use blueprints? So blueprints helps us to structure our Flask application to make it more modularized, so that we are able to define multiple routes within our projects, and we're also able to manage these multiple routes. So if you see right now, we have defined all of our routes in a single file, that is this APS. But as our project grows, this is not ideal, and it will be difficult to manage all of these routes in a single page or a single module. So what we do, we create different module for each route, and we divide these modules based on the feature. So let's get started and see how we can divide our these routes based on the feature, and then how we can utilize blueprints to modularize our Flask application. So here you can see each module named as product, login, and the user, and shop blueprint you can imagine as folders. These you can imagine as they are just container folders, and these are the actual module. We will just name it by here, and this is our app which will contain all of these files. So we will now see on the code side how we can define these modules. Okay, so we will start defining our blueprint. So let's move to our APIs folder. So here you can see we have defined four controller functions. So let's go ahead and initialize our blueprint here. I will import it from Flask. I will say from Flask import blueprint, and here we will simply initialize our blueprint. I will name it users pp, and as a prefix I will keep it users. So I will just go ahead and explain what each of it means. So this is the blueprint name. We can name it anything, but because it is for users, we will name it users blueprint. And secondly, this is the URL prefix. So it means whichever word or whatever prefix you want to prepend your API with. So if, for example, if it is, let me open the Postman. If it is get users, if you want to append it with users or user, you can simply add a URL prefix to it. And now we will have an blueprint object here. What we need to do is we need to replace this app with our blueprint instead. So let's go ahead and I will just copy it. I will select them using Control D. Okay, Control D will not work here. I will place them manually. I will replace them like this. So now instead of doing app.route, we are doing users_bp.route. Okay, so we are done here. Now let's go ahead and move to our init.py where our application is initialized. So here we can do a couple of ways. So let me first start with the most basic approach. So here you can see I have commented this import section here, because here we're not importing our routes now. What we will do is we will instead import our blueprint object. So I will do app.routes.aps, and from APIs I will simply import our user BP object. Now this blueprint object we have to register with using our Flask app object. So I will simply do app.register blueprint, and I will pass it the blueprint object that we need to register. Now our routes will be visible to our Flask application. That means we will be now able to call them. So let's go ahead and call this. Okay, we are getting, okay, yes. So we are getting a 404 route not found. That's because we are calling a get users, but here we have passed the prefix. So let's go ahead and add a prefix here. Okay, so here you can see now our API is working fine. It's able to call the get users. Similarly, so you remember I talked about modularization here, how we can separate the routes into different files. Okay, so the main purpose of blueprint is that, so it helps us segregate our routes, and we are able to manage a large number of routes definitions in our code. Now what I will do is I'll create one more file here. I will name it user profile, and I will simply change the name of this file, and I will name it users. Okay, so now we have two modules. One is named as user profile and second is users. So in users we will have all the routes which are related to user, and in user profile we will have all the routes named as user profile. So I will simply change the route definition here, and I will just do just write a basically boilerplate user profile code. So this is our user profile. I will just remove this, I will also change the blueprint name, blueprint object name here, since it will be specific for the user profile. I will change the name, named route here. I will name it user profile, and here I will change it profile. And here I will name it get profiles, because I need to get all the profiles that are there in the system. So I will simply replace this. Now let's go ahead and move back to our inlet file, and here I will import one more blueprint object, which is from the user profile section. So this is our user profile BP, and here I will do one more register, which is user profile BP, and I will just adjust the import here. Okay, this looks good. It should work. Okay, great. So our routes are, our server is working now. Let's go back to our Postman, and I will simply duplicate this API call here, and I will name it get user profiles. Get user profiles, and going to our blueprint, going to our module, I will add a profile API prefix to this, and its route is get profiles. Okay, we have a small error. That's because of the date is not supported. Let me try and remove this if it works. Yeah, great. So now we are able to fetch the profiles as well. Even though it's same as users, this was just to demonstrate how we can segregate these two features. So now we have like two features here, user profile and user section. Similarly, in your application, you guys can have like multiple type of features like the post or feed, or maybe some internal data of a user which will have a different URL path. So this, you can call it as a URL path or a prefix. So you can see like we have segregated these two modules, so they can have a number of routes in this. Similarly, you can create a different folders, feature folders for it. For example, right now we have it all under routes. You can have a subfolders under this, the user, then they can have multiple modules which are only related to users. Now, one more last point is how we can define nested blueprints. So let me go ahead and show it. Nested blueprints is it's straightforward, like we did for we added a URL prefix. We can add a parent blueprint to it. So for that, I will again import the blueprint here, and I will name it base blueprint, just a base BP, and this will simply contain all the blueprints inside of this will contain all the child blueprints inside it. So instead of doing app.register, what I will do is I will first register them under the parent blueprint. So I will do register blueprint, then this. Okay, now I have registered these two blueprints. I will remove these two statements at the end. That means these two are registered under the parent, and then at the end I will simply register them under our app. It's similar. There is no difference. Only thing is that conceptually they are different. So again, if I call, you can see it's working. Okay guys, so this was a small intro to our Flask blueprint section. In our next video, we will now move towards the structuring or organizing our Flask application in a better way. We will see what is MVC architecture, how we can convert this folder structure to the MVC based architecture.